You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another interesting episode of Ask Drone U. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, my name is Paul.
And I'm Rob, and very excited to be hanging out with you guys and very thankful that you are spending a few minutes of your day with us. We hope to bring you some value today. We thank you for the questions, and if you've got one that you have not yet shared with the world via Drone U, please go to askdroneu.com. We want to hear from you because this show is for you. And if we don't hear from you, then it can't be for you. Anyways.
Yeah, it's a very, very important point.
Yeah.
We've got a great show for you today. Good question. I think very relevant, just in timing. And today's show is brought to you by the Experience Training, although I'm not sure how many more ads we need to run, Rob, as my schedule is now fully booked with the remaining potential candidates. I think there's like 4 or 5 calls booked for every seat available. So it's gonna be fun. Unfortunately, there will be no bribing, but in whatever case that doesn't happen, I think this will be our last ad for the Experience Training. If you want to join us for a drone adventure, it's 7 days of training and flying. You're going to go through multiple classes from flight mastery to aerial photography, aerial videography, mapping, complex 3D mapping, and also creating hyperlapses. Because this drone training is the Drone U Experience Training, focused on construction deliverables to give you a comprehensive education of everything that you need to know and master to really master construction site flight missions. This way, you're going to be able to provide deliverables that a lot of other pilots simply cannot provide, which is going to give you an edge in the construction market. If you want to join us here in colorful Colorado, go to experience.thedroneu.com.
I'm going to add just one little bit to that.
Yeah.
Because 2 of the people that are going to be here, one in particular that have already, in fact, we kind of built the course around them and for them. But obviously I'm thinking of our buddy, and what excites me about him being there, Josh, is you guys need to understand that this is a very experienced drone pilot who is already running a UAS program for a major multinational construction company. And he's coming here to learn more. But the point is, he's also going to be there to give his experience.
Yeah, 100%.
And he does, this is literally what he does for a large construction company. And it's fascinating and super cool that he's going to be there learning. He's going to the course, but he's also got a lot of experience that he can share with you if you're there.
I think it also says a lot about him as well, because while he's very good at producing repeatable drone missions, managing 5-6 dozen drone pilots and getting those drone jobs done, he's also someone who's always willing and open to learn, and he understands some of the pitfalls that he has in flying and wants to fix that so that he can help those below him. I think it really says a lot about him. And
it does, absolutely.
I think that we've got to look at that as a model for success, because he's come from nothing just in the construction world as a PM to now drones, and drones is all that he focuses on for them. So
it's really cool what he does too. You would be behooved and benefited by hanging out with him in addition to the Drone U Elite guys for a week.
This is very true.
All right, let's play that question.
Hey guys, love the podcast. Really love listening to you guys. My question is, I'm having trouble finding a roadmap of sorts about certifications beyond the 107 when it comes to running a business focused on mapping. So you get your 107, you start your LOC, you want to focus on mapping, hang your hat there. What next? What should I do? So, are there any certifications that I should be looking at getting beyond just your regular online resources? I'm talking hard certifications that I can use to differentiate myself from other pilots in my area. Any thoughts or tips or tricks or anything you guys had to offer that question? I would really, really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Hunter. This is a question that we have had in the past. I think that it is probably something that's evolved somewhat just in terms of the I don't know that necessarily there are new certifications. That's not what I'm saying, but
there actually are.
Oh, there you go. I said I don't know. I didn't say there weren't. So apparently there are.
There are.
But I think the point is, I think there's going to be more people in terms of what I mean by evolution that are kind of thinking in the way that you are, and therefore it becomes even that much more beneficial. And so what are some of the certifications that might help somebody like Hunter?
Well, to your previous point regarding an update on certifications, there are just a Geo Week, this where you were with me.
Yeah.
They updated the ASPRS photogrammetric certifications and also some of the standards involved with that certification. But before we go kind of too deep down the rabbit hole, let me quote unquote circle back to that. I hate that saying. But
well, at the end of the day, that's the one I know that drives me crazy.
It's such an academic thing to say. At the end of the day, you're in your car driving home.
At the end of the day, I go to dinner.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, I go to bed.
Wait a minute. At the end of the night, at the end of the day, I go to the bathroom before I go to bed.
Yeah. See, it always devolves.
All right.
Anyways, carry on.
Okay.
Carry on.
What is a roadmap for certifications? When it comes to mapping, there's really only one body that offers certifications for mapping and photogrammetry. I don't know how much credence you'll get by having mapping certifications. I think it's still somewhat fairly new, but either way, I understand how that can give you an edge in the market. That said, ASPRS does offer certifications. They have multiple levels of certifications from technicians to scientists, etc. There are now even UAV remote sensing certifications, etc. I think that is honestly a great place to get started. Pix4D has certifications. I'm pretty sure Bentley has certifications, and it looks like there is now some sort of online certification. But, I would look at certifications with the most common software. So, for example, Esri, that could be a really valuable certification. What could be even more valuable would be something like ArcGIS, having a certification in ArcGIS. A Pix4D certification may hold weight, and I would recommend it because I think that they have a really deep, in-depth test that actually tests you to get said certification, which I think is really cool. In fact, you can actually take our updated comprehensive mapping class and really gain a lot more from that and be able to take that certification. So as far as a roadmap, I would say ASPRS is probably like the upper echelon. Pix4D, Esri certification. Now, these are just software-based certifications. ArcGIS certification, but ASPRS did just update all those rules. And now, Rob, they even have a LiDAR-based certification.
That was going to be my next question, and that is, what about things like LiDAR, thermal, any of those types of...
Well, as you remember, we actually tried to work with the thermal... What is it? The Thermal Institute that works with FLIR to do thermal certification.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's someone doing that with them on the very program we recommended that we wanted to do, and they turned us down. Well, now they're doing it with smaller players in the industry, so we should definitely look back at that again. But I think it's called an ITC, infrared thermography certificate or something like that.
There you go.
ITC certification. I will say, though, there are certain drone jobs that I would say do not require that level of certification. Think of like solar inspections.
Yeah.
Right? Or being a firefighter, public works. Okay. Those things I would say you don't need a thermal certificate whatsoever. But if you're doing like utility inspections,
it could really help.
It could help a lot because you need to understand radiometric imagery. You need to understand FLIR tools. You need to understand how to manipulate that data. And there's a science behind that. It's not like Photoshop. So,
well, and you need those potential either employers or customers to know that you understand it or have some confidence in your understanding of it.
Totally.
And obviously that's what Hunter's getting at. But practically speaking, I always like to ask you, if you were not running Drone U,
which I love,
and you were continuing to build a DSP business, would you, and because mapping I think would no doubt be a part of what you did, would you go get certifications?
No, actually I would not. But I only say that tongue in cheek because I have a Pix4D certification.
So you would.
Okay, let me give you. Okay, no, this is a good.
So you did.
I like it. Yes. Let's answer this. Research shows that having certifications does increase one's ego and ability to be confident in sales.
No, we don't need to go there.
I know, but I'm also kind of being a little facetious. That said, okay, if I had a DSP service right now, which by the way was something I wanted to talk to you about on the list from this morning.
It's not on the list.
Well, I think about Trent and the Big River Thompson project.
Yeah.
And how they're building an extra lake so that we have more water here in the local area.
Yeah, we got to learn more about that. That's a whole nother issue.
We do, but I think of that as the example, right? Because I think about what are the core elements to why he's getting those jobs. One, he's got a fixed wing drone that takes really good imagery, that is terrain awareness, and Trent has a background in GIS, aka he understands GPS and whatnot.
And he's a good dude. He gets along with people really well.
He's a phenomenal person. Yeah, he's a very good-hearted person, and I think
all that plays in.
Yeah, one lesson to learn from Trent, which if you guys haven't watched the episode with Trent, it shows. You see it automatically. It's just who he is. It's his core. But going back to it, if I could get some sort of GPS certification. If I could go do another MIT graduate class on GPS systems, I would get that certification. I would get a Pix 4D or a Bentley certification. I think having an AutoCAD certification and then an ArcGIS certification, that's what I would do. And here's why I say that. Do you remember Mario Duarte? He's got the coffee farm in Guatemala, and then has all the Austin Airbnbs we stay at. His nephew, Pablo, also goes by Paul as well.
Same diff.
Yeah, I prefer Paco. Anyway.
He seems like a really cool kid, by the way. I've never met him, but just like some of your videos, your Instagram from the time and so forth. Anyways,
he is. And
like
he and I stay up to date because I want him to do some classes for us.
Nice.
But he is at, what's the name of the university? Some university in the South, and he's working in Arkansas on rice farms. Because that issue that we learned from our Denver mapping student a while ago of the captation of the earth. And I don't think captation is like the right word. They're like
sounds fancy though.
Sinking of the earth because the water table is so dry. Okay, it's going on in California, it's going on in Arizona, it's going on in New Mexico, it's going on in Arkansas, Missouri, and Georgia as well. Kind of like just take the Bible Belt, or the Sun Belt is probably a better way to say it. Because I don't know how far west the Bible Belt extends. Because there's
not to California. But I was gonna let it ride.
What I was gonna say.
I was gonna let it ride. It's a really big belt for a big-waisted fella.
Yeah. Anyway, that said, what he's learning at the university is Pix 4D fields, ArcGIS, and AutoCAD, right? And so he'll get his geospatial intelligence, or GIS, different thing. He'll get his GIS degree, but he's also going to have certificates in ArcGIS, Pix 4D, and I think they're getting one from Leica on how to use GPS equipment. So if you think about that, these universities are preparing these kids by saying, these are the main softwares you're going to end up using. These are the power players. We want you to understand how to get the most out of these softwares. And so Pix 4D is still the academic standard, which makes me happy because it's a really phenomenal program. There are much better programs for 3D data, but man, I love Pix. So that said, going to that example, that goes back to, having an understanding of a photogrammetric software and a certificate that says that you can do that well. Having a certificate like on ArcGIS is going to do well, but I would add Esri to that.
So where would you go to get the ArcGIS?
ArcGIS.
Okay. But do you think there are like community colleges? I would imagine like up here, Front Range might have something along those lines.
Let's look this up really quick. Front Range Community College. Let's just do GPS.
It's an interesting... The reason I bring this up is because what we have found, and this is going to sound like I'm touting ourselves, and I guess in some ways by definition, but we found that a lot of the producers of these various products, be it hardware or software, they tend to not be the best trainers, even though often they want to be because they see revenue centers. it's not what they focus on. So it becomes sort of this ancillary element, and they try to bring a person in to be the quote unquote trainer. And you would think intuitively that it would make sense because they are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes somebody from the outside that goes and digs in and learns it ultimately can be better at training on it.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhat, again, to repeat myself, counterintuitively. And so I wonder about community colleges like Front Range, and they may not have anything here.
They do.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Except it's not offered at the Fort Collins location. Looks like it's offered in Boulder, so I'm out. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
We only go there for the food.
The Biergarten ist ganz, ganz gut, ja. So, anyway, they do have a GIS program, and they also have a GIS Associates program and GIS certificates.
There you go. And I'd be pretty certain that Ames would as well.
Yes, I would imagine, but Ames is probably a lot more expensive.
Oh, really?
But what's really interesting is this is what blows my mind. Like, look at here's their page on what you're going to learn, right? And then you look at like a sales page from us on like mapping class. And it's difficult because we do so much of what they offer, and it's taught from experience. So it's like, if it didn't work in the field and it failed, we've learned from that. And we're literally attempting to, help people out and learn from experience. So.
Honestly, with you saying that, what I go to is you almost need to do both, because the reality is Front Range is we'll call it a respected educational institution
Mm-hmm.
from which a certificate is going to mean something. We don't really offer certificates, but we teach you the damn stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And, a lot of people have asked us to do certificates. And if you go through our props program, you can earn certificates. Where I would say I think that they are probably better than us is a lot of stuff regarding geospatial intelligence or geographic information systems, of really getting in the nitty gritty of topos, getting in the nitty gritty of the GPS science, getting in the nitty gritty of, orthorectification, georectification.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, Trent.
Yeah. We got to get Trent back up to the office.
I know, he's so dang busy.
So
hard to get him up.
It really is. But that said, I think that there could be a lot of value in this. I also think I wonder what the cost of something like this would be. And then I look,
Depends.
yeah. And then I also wonder what the cost of, doing something like, I've been offered, 4 or 5 times now to do MIT's GIS certificate program, the graduate level one. And I almost said yes, but I didn't want to pay $9,000 for stuff that I know 60% of already. And so I think the Front Range Community College might be a much better opportunity. And one thing I will say to all of you out there who are older, you're past your graduate education age, you're like 35 or older is my point. I would say this: don't think that a community college is lesser than a state institution. As someone who has worked with numerous teachers and instructors and trained them as well, even at the university level, I find that the people at these community colleges typically have more passion, have more experience, and the depth of information is just as good as a $50,000 a year institution, if not better.
Yeah, I'm at the risk of overgeneralizing. I would say that with this sort of institution, a community college, and correct me if you know different, but my guess, I guess I'll just call it a guess, is that you're right. Here you're going to often get people that are more experienced in the field recently, maybe doing it even at the same time, versus a university where you're getting, for example, tenured people.
Yeah.
Who are relying on aides and so forth. I don't know. I mean, I guess at a minimum, like you said, just don't poo-poo these types of places.
Yeah, I would say remain open, because even after doing MIT graduate courses, I was flabbergasted at the quality. Because like anytime, Rob knows I play this card all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, one of the most recent things that I did was complete my graduate certificate at MIT. People are like, you went to MIT? And it's like, online. Yeah, I did.
10-week course.
Yeah.
Counts.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, it's all because they have some special, partnership with Emeritus, and I get to put it on my LinkedIn profile, and it's legit,
Whatever university you want to have a certificate from, you can get it.
And okay, that brings up a really important point. Do you know the only Ivy League level school that offers most of their courses for free? And I wonder if they have it here. Harvard Business School is online and it's free. And so you can take most classes for free through Harvard's programs. Let's see, Harvard online.
But you can't get credit for free. Like, you're not going to get credit towards a degree for free, but you can go get the information.
This is where
Rob is right, is what he's going to say. No, what are you going to say? What? This is where okay, be careful here. When you have to hesitate this much, it tells me be careful. Moving on.
No. I think, no. You have a really valid point, but as you know me, I'm kind of like anti-tradition.
No, I'm not saying that. That's a fact. I'm just like making sure that people are informed.
Number one, I don't know. So I don't know if you can get a certificate or an actual degree from their free course catalog. So that's number one.
I'd be shocked, but maybe.
But look at this. Programming.
Oh, yeah.
CS, health and prediction, probably wouldn't take that. But, there are, let's see, online pricing strategies, difficulty, let's see, Associated Schools, Harvard Business School. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get certificates, or you're for sure not going to get a degree.
No, but you're not even going to get credit towards a degree is the point. But you're probably going to get some sort of nice completion certificate and you did everything you needed to do, blah, blah, blah. But yeah.
100%. And one thing that I would say is I think how much that matters is going to be dependent on the audience. Meaning, yes, look, some of these are $2,000 for business strategy, global business, strategic perceptions. I don't see any GIS stuff though. That's what I searched was GIS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it matters for these people if they're getting credit towards a degree.
No, it may not. I'm just informing people of kind of the full picture. That's all. I don't think we need to spend any more time on that point.
No,
Just a quick point.
I'm also not seeing Harvard having any courses on GIS. Right?
Yeah, but obviously plenty of other places.
There are, but I also don't know how much it matters having a certificate. Because when you do one of these classes, like I said, you set up this thing at the end of the class, and it's like verify your progress on LinkedIn, and you get this digital certificate that you completed this graduate level course.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Which is an important point because we've got to make a very, very clear distinction between like a certificate of completion versus a certification, whereby it's more programmatic and you've probably even been tested, etc. And so whoever that organization is comfortable saying that they are giving you a certification in X, Y, or Z versus just they made it through this curriculum, we'll call it, and we're giving them an acknowledgement of that.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, gosh, there's so many opportunities.
Hopefully, Hunter, this has been helpful and that we just haven't like taken you around the block to get across the street or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I got you. And I think they do too. But I will say, as recapping a navigation of certificates, I would be looking at things like, Pix4D, Bentley's context capture, ArcGIS, Esri, Autodesk, and it's going to be dependent on which vertical of the field that you're servicing. I feel like that's always the case. So
yeah, indeed.
I think we did do a round robin on that. Sorry, I went down the rabbit hole in researching what classes. One of the best geospatial intelligence schools, Geospatial Information Sciences, GIS, I would argue is McGill. McGill is in Canada. It's in Montreal. It's in one of the most beautiful cities in Canada. And I will say, I would definitely look at schools that have a focus in geospatial intelligence, geospatial information, that have a long track record, because a lot of people in this industry, like many industries, simply don't have a lot of experience, and you're going to want to learn from someone with experience, because I've seen over and over again, people learn something, they go do it, and they realize, oh, they missed one little detail and it wiped out the job for them. So details matter when it comes to mapping photogrammetric science as a whole. So, make sure that you are ready to pay attention and learn and always be open to learning more. So I hope that answers the question. Rob, I really appreciate the banter here with you. I'm going to start working on my next Harvard degree. So
Right on. I'm going to Front Range.
probably more fun. That's going to do it for us today, everyone. My name is Paul.
My name's Rob.
And this is Ask Drone U.